Hello, everybody. My name is Austin, and I am super excited to officially welcome you to the first Justuno Labs working session where I will be teaching you guys how to create this fully responsive email lead capture in the new Justuno V4 platform. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything about the video plugin, everything that has to do with responsiveness, and how to set up your mobile screens, your best practices, basically give you everything. Let's go. All right. So now I'm going to start designing this lead capture. So I'm going to start with the sizing. This is what I always do. I'm going to set the max width because by default it's going to go by 700. So I'm going to set it to none. And I'm going to take away the 100% width and I'm going to set it to my desired sizing, which is going to be 785 pixels in width. And in height, I'm going to set it to probably 570. Then I'm going to go down here to layout and to the overflow. I'm going to set it to none because I don't want anything to go beyond my canvas to show. So I'm going to set that to hide. And then I'm going to set my layout to flex. What this does is your layout is going to start from the center, vertical and horizontally, and work its way up depending on how you set your direction. Then I'm going to start with the row container. Start with 2 containers. Then I'm going to go to the layer list, go to my parent container, make sure that it's set to 100% width and 100% height to make it stretch throughout the whole promo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the left side my video container and my right side is going to be my text and my email field container. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add the video layer. Slide it in here. Now what you're going to have to do next is you're going to have to import. I have a custom video that I want to add. So I have a direct link. So I'm going to set it to HTML source. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in my video. Now I want to make sure this auto plays on each visit. So I'm going to checkbox. I also want it to loop. So I'm also going to checkbox that, mute it just in case there's any sound, and related. Now you might think this is looks very weird. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the video, set it to 100%, and also going to set this one as well to 350 just to fill the left side. And then from here, I'm going to drop in text in the right side container. I imported my own custom fonts from Google Fonts. So in this session, I'm going to be using Bricolage Grotesque as my header font. Say get 10% off now. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sizing all my text for now. Then I'm going to duplicate this text layer. There's going to be my subtext. So it's going to be like my description below it. For my subtext, I'm going to be using Instrument Sans regular. I'm going to set this to 17. So sign up for alerts, new releases, and we'll just say product, loyalty program. Now you might be saying, wow, all of this is very, scrunched together. We have not set any margins or padding yet, so everything is set on full width. I'm going to go ahead and add my email field and also my button here. Now, this is what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that this text container is set to 100% height. And then I'm also going to go into one of these and I'm going to set the margin. So I'm going to set the sign up now text above to separate or give it some space from the header. So I'm going to give it 10 pixels. What I'm also going to do is add another container here for mobile reasons. I'm going to add this into here. Here we go. So now I have both my header and my sub text into one container. And what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to set this container for my CTA button and my email field. Yep, this looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the text and the subtext container, and I'm going to give it a margin. So this is going to separate from my text and my email field and my CTA button. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 20 pixels in space. And now what I'm going to do now is I want all of my text and my email fields and my button to kind of scrunch into the screen or into the promo. I'm sorry. And now this is where padding comes. So I'm going to set this to 40 and this one as well to 40. I'll take off now and probably make this just a little bit bigger. I'm going to go 50. Okay, this looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and edit our email field. So I'm going to set the height to 52 and also my button to 52 pixels. Now by default, the buttons do have padding. So I'm going to remove the values that are set in the padding. I'm going to go ahead and shift click both the email field and the button. I'm going to give it some rounded corners. This looks great. I'm also going to give my CTA a circular border radius. So I'm going to set this to 60. Now I'm going to also give my email field a margin value to separate and give it some space from the CTA. Now there's one thing that I liked about this template is I wanted to make it or kind of resemble a picture frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the main canvas and I'm going to add padding to give it that picture frame kind of look. So I'm going to give 10 on all sides. I'm going to go back to the video container and I'm going to set this overflow to high because as you can see, it's going over the picture frame padding. There we go. So now we have basically the skeleton of our promotion here. So I'm going to go ahead is I'm going to edit the text here in our email field and our CTA. I'm going to set this to instrument regular. And for the button, I'm going to give this a bold. There we go. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to the settings, which is the cog. Here, I want my input icon, which is a little email icon here to show. I have my email field as set to required. So the user has to submit an email to move on and get the discount. Then the placeholder text, I'm going to say enter your email. And I also want to auto-populate the field if the property value is already known. So just in case if a user comes back on this promotion, it'll show the email. So I'm going to go back. I'm also going to go to the button. I'm going to set 2 click actions, which I'm going to set the first one to submit form. So after a user, signs up, they're submitting their information. And I also want the frame to link to the success or the thank you screen. And I'm also going to set this as an advancing action in the workflow. And this is coming along very well. Now what I want to do is add some color to the text. So I'm going to go ahead and add like a lighter gray color. And also for my CTA, I'm going to go ahead and add like a light cyan color. So I'm going to take away this, add a stroke with the cyan, and also here. Oh, right here. This is looking good. So I'm gonna do sign up now. I could probably make these a tad bit bigger. So I'm gonna do is probably make it 62 or 58. And I'm gonna make the text a little bigger to match the subtext. Good. This is looking good. I'm gonna save my progress. I'm gonna preview, see how this looks on desktop. And there you go. This is how it's looking so far. One thing that is missing is a close button. So I'm gonna add this, drop it right into the canvas. Now it's gonna be lining up since our canvas is set to horizontal flow. I'm gonna want to set this positioning to absolute. So now this is gonna have its own designated positioning. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the top value a 0 and also the right 0. So what this does is it's gonna make your close button stick to the top right, since your top values, your top is set to 0 and your right is set to 0. So it's acting like a top right positioning. All right, this looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and go to tablet to see how this looks on that screen. We're gonna need to resize this. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably do 640. And the height is gonna be set to 520. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink the header text a little bit. Oh, this looks good. Now it's time for portrait and landscape mobile. What I like to do is I like to set my percentages on the width. What this does is going to automatically adjust to any screen size, whether you're on an old gen iPhone, Android, or anything like that. Is going to automatically adapt to the width of the screen, no matter the percentage. So then I'm also going to do my height, set it to 230. Now I'm going to go back to the video container. I'm kind of going to shrink this down a little bit because I want my right side, the text, to have like more space. So I'm probably going to set this to 55. And I'm going to set my height. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Probably do like 100. Okay, then I'm going to go here. I'm going to edit my text. So what I like to do is I like to stay within the 22 font size, 24 pixel size for headers on this mobile screen. Also with mobile, I like to stick anywhere between above 14 pixels. So we're gonna go ahead and give this 15. Same thing with the email field and the CTA. And I'm also gonna change the sizes and height of the mobile of the CTAs on mobile. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 48 or 44. Then decrease the margin value at the bottom between the email field and the button. I'm gonna put these together. Then I'm gonna go to the subtext and I'm also gonna shrink this as well. And we could probably make the close button smaller too. 14. This looks great. So we're gonna go ahead and preview all of our devices so far on desktop, tablet, and mobile. This is desktop, this is tablet. This looks great. So now we're gonna do the last screen for mobile. So this is what I like to do. I'm gonna stay on 90%. And then I'm also gonna do 460, which is kind of like the maximum height you wanna go for anything iPhone 7 and below. So for this one, I'm gonna want my video to be in the background and take up the whole canvas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and give this a absolute positioning. And then I'm gonna set the width to 100. And also the height, I'm gonna set to 100 as well. And also go on the video layer, set this to 130. There we go. Okay, Now that this is on absolute positioning, I'm going to want to set the Z index to 0. So basically Z index is kind of like the positioning of layers, what goes first, what goes second, and what shows on top. So my video container is going to be set to 0. So I want that to be the background. Now I'm going to go to my text container. I'm going to set the positioning to relative, and I'm going to change the Z index to 1. So it's going to always show above the video or show on top of the video. Now I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to set my video layer. I'm going to lower the opacity to probably 40. You can do 53. 53 looks good. Okay. So now that we got that, I'm also going to decrease the padding that I originally had in that text container. So I'm going to do 20 and 20. And I'm also going to increase the font size here. So I'm probably going to do 28. Same thing with the text here. Say to 16. I'm probably going to go more than that. So probably 36. This looks great. I'm going to give this a little bit more spacing. And I'm going to increase these by, now it's going to be 46 pixels. One thing I forgot is to set the close button. So I'm going to go back to desktop. I'm going to set the close button to be above everything. So now, no matter where you are on this promotion, the close button, the interaction will not be blocked by any kind of layer or any kind of layer that's taking up the whole canvas. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save. I'm going to preview all of my viewports, and everything looks perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my frame list, and I'm going to name it capture. Then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the frame. And this is going to be my success screen or after sign up. So I'm going to call this success. And now this is going to be my thank you. Here is your coupon code. So now I'm going to add my discount layer into the canvas. I'm just going to snag all of these values here that I have set. So I'm going to put margin bottom 20. Then I'm going to change the text. I'll probably make this bold, just make it stand out. This was 58 in height. And 6 rounded corners. Okay. I'm just going to make this stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to set the color background to kind of like a lighter gray. There we go. Now I'm going to go to my cog, which is the settings. And I'm going to give this the 10% off property or 10% off coupon code. Set that. Now we could preview this. So I'm going to go ahead and go through a submission. There we go. So this is working properly. So now I'm going to go back and make this fully responsive on all the other tablets, on all the other viewports. So now all I got to do is edit the discount code layer. So this is set 58, 44, 44. Let's change this to 10. And this one was 47. Now the one thing that I'm not going to forget is I'm going to set these close buttons to actually close and to also advance in the workflow. So after the user submits and gets their coupon code and closes this out, it's not going to show again upon their next visits. So I'm going to set that to an advancing action. And I'm also going to set this one, which I need to change. This is going to be the close and also with the advancing action. So I'm going to take this to keep shopping. And we go ahead and save and preview our promotion. We're going to go through all the viewports together. So this is desktop, tablet, mobile. Everything looks perfect. Then we're going to go through our submission. Make sure this looks good as well. And this looks perfect. This is your fully responsive email lead capture. I hope you guys enjoyed this working session. And till next time, see you guys.